All right. Good afternoon or evening, whatever works for you. Welcome to another edition of the No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast. I'm Bobby Melendez, joined always by my tag team partner, Josh Kimmel. Josh, how you doing, brother?
I am doing good. And if you notice me laughing, it was not because of you or anything. It's just I'm just tightening up my notes and rereading some of the things that Hogan has said or claimed, and I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing at these statements, and I can't wait to get into it. I really cannot
You
wait.
know this. This is gonna be a different type of episode. We're excited for it. It's fun, you know. I did grow up, and I've said that before. I think we've all. I grew up a Hulkamaniac, Hollywood Hogan fan. You know, you as well, but not now it's kind of like it's the heel thing, so this was a fun episode to kind of dive into in the
Hold on.
what
What does that mean? What does that mean? What was that?
you're not a Hogan guy. You're shit on
Well,
everything's good. You crap on
I
Hogan.
never said I never said I was a Hogan guy. I never claimed to be. Never claimed to be I didn't watch the
Yeah,
WCW for I didn't watch WCW for Hogan. He was never my my cup of
you
tea.
you realize what Hogan is. Come on, what are you doing?
I
What are you doing?
real no, I
You're the
realize what
heel.
he is, but like it's not like hey, I gotta watch WCW brother because of Hogan. No, I'm watching it for Jericho and at the
Ah,
time Sting and
Sting. Okay,
Goldberg at
I'll
the
take
time.
Sting. I'll stay Gold.
At
Oh,
the
see
time Goldberg.
Goldberg, and he's gonna get a world
So,
title
so
shot, right? You're excited
anyway, so
about that?
We're talking about
Well,
Hogan
no, we don't
tonight.
want to do that. We don't want
We're
to go there.
talking Hogan tonight. If you want to hear my thoughts on Oldberg, Vince Talk Extra,
Oh,
Thursday night.
there you go.
That's all you need to do. Just go there. I am not in the mood to talk about this again. I can't do it.
Goldberg.
I
You
can't, man.
you saw the crowd. When I saw the crowd pop when his music hit, all I could think was the IWC led by Josh Kimmel. I was like,
So,
this must
okay,
really grind his
we'll
gears.
get into it. We'll get into it. So
Okay.
Monday, I did not watch the show. Tuesday, did not watch the show. Wednesday, did not watch the show. Thursday before Real Talk Wrestling, I turned on Raw. The only thing I knew going into Raw was Liv Morgan was hurt.
Yeah.
I genuinely not popped in a good way. When I heard the Goldberg music hit, my jaw. Like I was at work. Sorry, boss. I was at work watching Raw. And then I heard the dun done and like my morale was done for the day. I wanted to close my computer and just crawl into my bed and wonder why Paul, why Triple H, why are we doing this? Why must we appease this man?
We knew this was going to happen.
Not
Just
for
we
the
didn't know
world
when.
title. Not for the world title.
Listen, it was going to be, what was he going to fight for? Unless it
You
was a
have you have 4, 8, 12, 16 men fighting, clawing, beating the hell out of each other for weeks in this tournament to decide a number one contender match. These superstars are fought. Goldberg should have fought for it. Put him in the damn tournament. If you want a title match, earn it. That's it. What Orton has earned it. Sami Zayn has freaking earned it. Cody
Sami Zayn,
Rhodes.
Sami Zayn and
All these
Goldberg.
people, in the King of the Ring, they all earned a spot already. Goldberg just walks in.
Yeah.
Or what? So this King of the Ring tournament means zero to me because you don't need to win it to get a title shot. You just need to come
Not
back.
when you're Goldberg.
All right.
If Chris Jericho with his self walked in right now, he'd probably get a world title shot too. He's Chris Jericho. If Sting walked in and in his prime right now, or little Pat's prime, but in the Goldberg shape, he'd probably get a title shot too. Name matters. He earned it by his history, by who he is. The same thing. Just like if Hogan was to walk in and Hogan was still in shape and still his guy, and he didn't have that little that dumb thing he did, he'd be getting a title shot too because it's Hulk Hogan. It's name matters, bro. If Sami Zayn had that type of career and he left and let's say he was gone for years, he popped in, he'd probably get a title shot. Well, maybe not Sami Zayn, but Cody. Cody would probably be somebody he could be gone for 10 years, living his happy life with his dog and his kids, and he walks right in, he'll get a title shot because he's Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns is the same thing. Roman Reigns doesn't need to be on every show in the King of the Ring because he's one of the little guys and I got to earn my role. Here I come. No, you know what he does? He just Roman Reigns. He earned that role. So anytime he wants, he can say, hey, Paul, I want a title shot. Oh, dude, you're Roman freaking Reigns. Go get your shot. Goldberg, bro. That's why while you were going like this, oh my gosh, the crowd in the arena were going nuts. That's That's box office. That's who he is. And that's why he gets a shot. And let's not pretend he's going to win the title. Come on. But this is Goldberg. Unless this was like, wait a second. Chris Hogan. Yeah. Unless it was like, let's say Brock Lesnar there, standing there, and Goldberg showed up. You don't need a title for that match. You don't need it. The match itself, those two, their history, that sells itself. Undertaker, Goldberg sells itself. Gunther, Goldberg, you need a belt. You need the world title. That makes it more legitimate for Gunther. He beat Goldberg in a world title match. Look at that. Come on.
I know everyone's on your side. Listen, I'm against the wall. I get it, bro. It's cool. It's fine. Let's move on because I'm not going to win this argument no matter what. I know I'm going to pack it up and go home and fight another day because we're not going to agree on this. But when you know what? When this match sucks and when this match is terrible, we're going to revisit this.
Oh, okay.
We're going to revisit.
I'm not going to say it's great. It's not going to say it's a great match.
We're wasting Gunther's time. That's all. And Kevin Owens was on a rocket ship to the moon. So was the Fiend. And guess who buried both of them? Goldberg. Watch out, Gunther.
That was Vince McMahon. How are you going to blame the talent and not blame the one who's running the show? That's just like when we were talking last week when we were saying, Hogan ruined WCW. It's all his fault. Who gave him the power? Who was
just saying
that was Eric Bischoff? Just like
Goldberg killed Kevin Owens and Goldberg killed the Fiend.
He did not kill Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens just the Fiend killed that Vince McMahon killed the Fiend. The Fiend was Goldberg in that Seth Rollins Fiend match in the Hell in a Cell? No. Thank you. That's what I said. There you go. Come on. I'm on a roll, brother. Ooh, yeah. There you go. Let's keep going. I'm ready.
You're feeling it. You're feeling yourself. It's cool. It's cool.
So we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have fun. This was a challenge for me. And that's what I was getting at. This was a challenge because, looking up these stories, whether you're a diehard fan of Hogan or you're a diehard hater of Hogan, I think everyone could say, man, there's a lot of stories where Hogan's kind of like that's not real. Even Eric Bischoff, who is an avid Hogan supporter, he's kind of like, oh, Hogan's he's capping on that. And what's fact and fiction? My thing as I was looking this up, Josh was like, man, like I wanted to do a show was like, okay, this is straight up kayfabe. He's doing this for kayfabe reasons. This is a straight up lie. And this is straight up delusion where maybe he just got it wrong. Like that's how I felt. There was no way like, oh, which one is the truth? Because there was no truth in any of these that we were looking up. It was more of like, where's the straight up lie? And then where's the kayfabe where he's like, and we'll get into it. Like I was the first to slam Andre and he was 700 pounds. That could be listed as kayfabe. Like he's like, hey, he was trying to make it look like a bigger deal. WWE was rolling with it. When he's like, oh yeah, I tried out for Metallica or they asked me to be a part of the band. And, that could be just straight up lie. I mean, that's like, there's nothing to gain from that. So we're going to have some fun with it. Maybe there's some other ones that we don't have listed that we could talk about. If somebody wants to put in the comments and we'll just go, we'll just roll with it.
Before we go, I gotta say something to Maria. Love you. I love it.
What's up, Maria?
Where was this energy when Sting had his farewell match? Sting was still excelling at his age. Sting wasn't killing The Undertaker or others at his age. Sting wasn't a liability in the ring. And Sting was on the road full time with Darby Allin in AEW. Was he limited? Yeah, he was. He was very limited as in his dates, but he still traveled. He made it to at least 2 out of 4 shows a month. He was at every pay-per-view, and he was doing things that Goldberg couldn't dream of doing. Jumping off of balconies, doing high spots, jumping into tables. That's not what Goldberg was,
though. That's not what Goldberg is.
But what I'm saying is, Sting deserved his way out. Sting deserved to win on his way out. But he did it against the Young Bucks, not against their top star. He didn't do it against Kenny Omega. He didn't do it against Will Ospreay. He did it against the Young Bucks in a tag team match. So if Goldberg wanted to go out in a tag team match with whatever, Braun Breaker, a young star kind of like him, and then they take out some like 2 young, cocky, like whatever guys, just whoever, just mid-road tag teams, I'd be cool with that. That'd be cool. but the fact that he's inserting himself into a main event match against one of the top stars in the company, that's the problem. So if Sting didn't do that, he was not selfish. He went out in a tag team match against mid-carders, and he was there full time.
AEW is full of mid-carders. I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, there's not much he could work with. I mean, it's like he was on a retirement party. You know, he's just chilling out. You know, I mean, I get it. You know, but Goldberg is, you know, if Sting wanted to come back, if Sting right now would, first off, he has an awesome look. I'm not gonna say he doesn't. I don't know if you've seen it, and I've downloaded his version on WWE 2K. White beard with a black stripe, white hair, face paint. There's a red and a black and white version. If he came in right now, obviously he's not in the show, but put him in a title match. That's a main attraction. That's what WWE is. World Wrestling Entertainment. Goldberg is entertainment. That's
Speaking
what that
of
is.
Entertainment, we're gonna see Goldberg is the new Charlotte Flair for me. It's because you know she's so down. She got so down in the mid card now. She's just so irrelevant. She had a good fatal four man. But anyway, Hogan. So let's bring up some Hogan stories.
Look, you see, we saw Sting. Yes, he was awesome. He went like that to me with his bat and his thing, and I was like, oh my gosh. So you know, it was awesome. I love Sting, and I'm a nostalgic guy, and I'm willing to take the heat. You know, I don't think I am. I think I'm getting some brownie points, which I'm cool with. You know, the crowd is on my side.
If Nikki Bella came back, because she was set up to face Liv, right?
She was.
If Nikki Bella came back and said, "Hey, Tiffy," or "Hey, I can't think of the Raw champion right now. Geez, Io Sky, I'm facing you. I'm Nikki Bella. Would you be okay with that?"
Depends on what we're doing. I mean, it's Nikki
Bella.
Bella.
I know Nikki Bella's not Goldberg. I know she's not. I know.
Why do you act like Goldberg's the one coming and going, "Hey, Paul, I'm getting a world title match"? You think Paul Levesque is going to do that? You think Triple H is going to say, "Okay, this is not Vince McMahon. This is what if it's Gunther saying, dude, I want to defend the title against Goldberg. I want to have that on my resume." You don't think they're working it out where they're going to protect Goldberg? Come on, dude. What do you do? Yeah, like, well, Goldberg is living his best. That's right. It's his last match. He's going to go out against Gunther, and Gunther needs it because do we really believe him as a world champion? Do we see him as that?
I do.
I don't think he's earned that spot yet. I mean, but he hasn't done anything with that, but he was a great intercontinental champion. I believe that was an awesome run. He had a run with the world title. It was lackluster. Lost it to Jey Uso. That's what it was. Beat Jey Uso on a random Raw, and now has the title again. It's like he's more, to me, I see him as a stepping stone champion until he proves otherwise. And this match could help that. If you know, whether it's Goldberg, okay, he beats Goldberg in Saturday Main Event, maybe like 5-second match beats the hell out of Goldberg. Oh my gosh, the world is shocked. How the hell did he do like Goldberg beat Lesnar? And then he goes out and has an awesome match with, or storyline with CM Punk or Seth Rollins or whatever. That's what builds up Gunther as a champion. He hasn't been that yet. So this is what I think this helps him. I think this is Gunther. And Goldberg wants a retirement match. He wants this, and it's against a top star in everyone else's opinion, which I think he is. But maybe Gunther wants this. Maybe you keep saying Goldberg, but Goldberg's just came in. I think Triple H says, "Hey, let's do it. Let's put this together." People are going to watch. They still scream for Goldberg, unless you're Josh Kimmel. But let's talk about a real world champion, and that's the Hulkster. Let's talk about Hulkamania and Hulk Hogan. This is again. What's kayfabe? What's not? The more I looked into this, I kept going, man, that has to be straight up kayfabe. So let's get into this. And guys, and first of all, everyone tuning in right now, we appreciate you watching No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast, the Hogan Files edition, the tall tales of Terry Hulk Bollea. Terry Bollea being, of course, Hulk Hogan, the real American. And let's get into it, dude. We're gonna have some fun with it. This is a fun episode. There's a lot of people who've done this before, talked about different stories and everything of Hogan, but not me and Josh. And Josh and I have a different dynamic. And so I was really looking forward to doing this with him because I know he's going to just give me hell over it, but let's roll with it. This one was funny because I've heard this 1,000 times over and I never believed it, but The Wrestler, you remember that movie, The Wrestler?
I remember. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, dude.
It's an unbelievable movie. It's a great movie. And Mickey Rourke killed it. But the claim was, Hogan's claim, that he was approached 3 times to take the lead role for The Wrestler, but denied it because he said it would suck. Because he did a movie called No Holds Barred, no pun intended, and it wasn't good. So he's like, hey man, I just can't do it. I shouldn't do it. And the director, I don't have his name right now in front of me, but the director's come out. There you go. And the truth is, he came out and said, that's not true. He said that it was always supposed to be Mickey Rourke. He doesn't know where this come from. So I'm going to ask you, is this kayfabe or straight up lie?
It has to be a straight up lie, doesn't it? It has to be a straight up lie.
There's no reason to what's the build for this? What's Hogan's rub off of getting this?
He thinks he's such, starring in these movies, No Hold Barred, Mr. Nanny, which we'll get into later, Santa with Muscles, Rocky, right? The Rocky movie where he was Thunder Lips. Like, he left wrestling. Don't forget this, guys. Wrestling wasn't his first thing. He was a musician. He thought he was going to be a big actor. So he left wrestling one time to go do Rocky. And Vince McMahon Sr. said, if you do this, don't ever come back. And he did it. He didn't come back for a long time until Vince Jr. took over. So I think he just living in this world where he wants people to think he's some big star outside of pro wrestling, which he already is. He doesn't need to lie about this. He doesn't need to tell us he's a big star, Hogan. We know you are. But he wants people to know, oh, I could have done that. Matter of fact, they wanted me to do that because I bring authenticity to this wrestler role. Oh, dude, they didn't want. You're not a good actor. You're not as good as Mickey Rourke. How about that? Mickey Rourke is a phenomenal talent. This was supposed to be an Oscar movie.
Yeah, and Mickey Rourke should have won the Oscar. I will say Hogan left the WWF for
who won that year.
Sean Penn, I think, for what movie? Harvey Milk, maybe Milk, but it should have been Mickey Rourke. I think it was Sean Penn, because I was disappointed. But Hogan did leave WWF to do Rocky. Vince Sr. said, if you leave, you're not coming back. Hogan left, did Rocky 3, went to the AWA, where he started picking up the good guy role as Hulk Hogan, doing that. And that's where Vince Jr. took over and said, I want you to be the lead dog in WWF. And then Hogan came to WWF. So it wasn't until Thunder in Paradise where Hogan left for a while and then went with WCW. But I'll say that was kayfabe. You weren't lying. That was kayfabe. But moving on, another claim that I found very interesting, because as a Hogan fan growing up, Hulkamania, running wild, brother. I was also an Elvis fan. I grew up an Elvis fan. My dad, when I used to go on the road with my father, my dad was a mover. So he would take us on the road with him on his truck, or I would go on the road with him, and he'd be listening to Sirius XM radio. We'd be listening to Elvis Presley. We'd go to Graceland. So when I saw this, I was like, whoa, really? And the claim was Elvis was a Hulk Hogan fan, that Hogan said that Elvis would go to see his matches in Memphis and was a Hulkamaniac. Here's the problem. Elvis was dead. Hulk Hogan's first match was in August of 1977 in Tampa, and Elvis died in Memphis August 16th, 1977. So I was like, what are we doing, bro? Again, why? What's the point? What's the point of saying that? Unless, I don't know if it's a rub. Like, oh, dude, I just can't say, because if Hogan's first match was in Tampa, I don't know where that would come from. Did you know about this?
No, I didn't.
Tall tale?
No, I actually learned this when you sent it to me, and I'm like, wait a minute, is that true? And then I looked it up and saw that it could not be true. And I don't know why. Does he think that we won't fact checked? Like, does he think that whatever he says, since he's a pro wrestler, it's just in his story? Like, his life is a storyline. In that book we read, Say Hello to the Bad Guys, he says it in that book, everything's a run. Everything's a run. Whether it be your marriage, your soccer game, whatever it may be. He lives his life like he is in the wrestling business at all times.
Yes, I believe that's true. And same thing, shout out to that book, Say Hello to the Bad Guys, by Mark Raimondi. We read that book. It's awesome. It's out in a few days. You can get it on Amazon. It's the book on the rise of the NWO and the NWO's impact on the culture of America. And, you said something that it speaks to kind of, we can say it off air, but everything he expects probably is us to take his word as truth. And it's like, but it doesn't make sense. And you look it up, and you're like, oh, so yeah, this one was like, it's hard to defend. And that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to be very real with you. I was like, how could I defend this? How can I go into this show just being a pain in the ass to Josh and defend all the lies and just be the heel? But it was, as I was reading, it's like, I can't. There's like I try to go, maybe Elvis, like before he died, watched Hogan one match and Hogan's like, oh brother, what's up? And no, Hogan didn't wrestle till in Tampa, and Elvis was in Memphis. Died at his home. I don't know.
So have you ever, now I don't think any of my personal friends or family will ever see this. Have you ever told a lie and you got so far deep into the lie that you actually to this day believe that lie exists?
I think
whether it be small or big,
sure. Well, it's true, right? And that's why for me, I'm going to be very real with you. One of my biggest things is just tell me the truth straight up. I don't care if it's an ugly truth or whatever, because once you, I'm trying not to throw shade, and he may want, I'm not gonna, somebody I know is like that. When I was looking at this, I was thinking about a specific person going, I know someone who's like this. They will tell something, they'll say a lie, and they think because maybe like, and they're standing right next to you, that's not true. You're like, what are you doing? And they'll get, and like you just said, then it becomes like a false reality. It becomes that person's reality. No, dude, that happened. You were here. No, I was, no. So I know people of that, but for me, I'd rather tell the truth straight up. Not saying no one's ever lied or I haven't lied before, or fibbed, whatever you want to call it. But no, I try not to do that. I guess Hyena's Traffic Packs, and he doesn't have real friends. Bret Hart. Here you go. Let's see. Everybody tuning in right now. What's up, everybody? Raphael, Hulk Hogan gives me Britney Spears vibes. Red Devil 87, all of them number ones that Elvis had, and he died at number 2. Creative Control and everything, I guess, brother. Hulk Hogan is a dirty right hyena. There you go. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like that. I lie like people think Vince screwed Brett when we all know Brett screwed Brett. Oh, there you go. Oh, getting feisty. So the next one I think is like more like kayfabe, where it's kind of like, I don't know how that would harm anybody, but it's like, I grew up a Dusty Rhodes fan. Hulk Hogan said that he grew up watching Dusty Rhodes as a fan, stating in his book he was about 6 or 7 years old. Problem with that is Rhodes didn't debut until Hulkster was at least 14 years old and did not wrestle in Florida until 3 years after that. Does this do any damage? Is this one of those like, oh, that's a lie straight up? Or do you think like, maybe he was just thinking and, he just said, oh, dude, I was like a kid.
So yes, because there's many times where I've said like, oh yeah, I saw, I'm one of these people that are old enough to see a Dan Marino football game.
Yeah.
But I'm also old enough not to remember any of them really. Like,
yeah,
not memories. Like, so I can say like, yeah, Hogan, or I watched Marino when I was 8. I don't know when I was, but I would throw out a number.
Fair, yeah.
So yes, I could definitely see that. I really could. I could see this as, but knowing Hogan and his
that's
reputation, it's hard to believe.
But like, and look, obviously Hogan has said it. I've heard Hogan say it before. There were 2 guys that he modeled himself after. The superstar
Billy Graham.
Yes, Billy Graham. I'm mixing him up with the pastor, and that's why I was like, is that the right name? Superstar Billy Graham. And you see it, right? You see Hulk, when he's wearing the pants and everything, it's the same type of the look, the muscles, the hair, and then the flamboyance of Dusty Rhodes. Those are 2 guys. And if you put them in, Hogan said that before. And so, yes, I believe that Hogan did. And like you said, he may have like a misconception of his reality. It was like, oh, dude, when I was a kid, I was like 6 or 7 years, watch Dusty Rhodes on TV. Well, dude, no, you're really 14, 18 years old, whatever, maybe, which is kind of crazy but you weren't that young, but obviously I don't know when he said this, but that's the thing. But anyway, maybe I should have lost my smile. Right, it was Billy Graham. Let me see
here. Brett, are you happy that Goldberg's back? Tell me how you feel about Bill Goldberg.
Yes, how do you feel about Goldberg being back? Do you think he deserves that title shot because he's Goldberg? And if Bret Hart was still in Bret Hart shape, in the best there is, the best, and we will get to a Bret Hart part, but would you be mad if Bret Hart was still in Bret Hart shape and being the best years? If he came in right now, like Gunther versus Goldberg right now for the world title, no one's gonna get pissed at that. It's Bret Hart. That's hilarious. So moving on. This one I think is straight up kayfabe. To say straight out. But Hogan said he was the first ever to slam Andre the Giant, and that Andre was 700 pounds. We know Andre wasn't 700 pounds. He was close to 500 pounds, maybe 520, closer to 500. But also, if you're a wrestling historian or buff and you follow around, that's not true. Because Hogan slammed Andre way before that. And there's a lot of guys that did it.
Yep.
Harley Race, Jerry the King Lawler, Kamala, Antonio Inoki.
Yep.
There's a lot of dudes that did it, and that's on the cement. Harley Race was a badass. That dude was damn, think about that. But Andre was very giving in that sense. But again, to me, I don't take this like as a lie. I think this straight up kayfabe because WWE built it like Andre has never been beaten before. Andre was never slammed before, and that's what they did. So Hogan rolled with it. And he continues to do so with it. And we know, okay, this is a Hogan thing, but the truth is, what I think the truth is Hogan that's one of these things where Hogan just took it as a reality, but it's straight up kayfabe. And he knows it's not true, but that it's better for him if people think, yeah, man, Hogan, nobody ever slammed the Giant, and Hogan tore everything and muscle and this and this. So I don't think this is too much damage to it. Kayfabe.
I believe, going into the Giant, when they say that he didn't know he was going to win until he heard the 1, 2, 3, do you believe that at all? Has that been documented by Andre that's true?
That Hogan didn't know that Andre was going to let
him beat him. Yeah.
That I've heard that for so long. And I know, like Goldberg has said before too, when he went to Hogan, because he said Hogan said, I'm going to lose to Goldberg and whatever. And when he went to Hogan and he said, how are we going to do Hogan? And Hogan said, we'll call it in the ring, brother. So I guess when you're in that stage, and Andre could call his own thing, maybe. But I will tell you, I guess I could see it, but no, I think that's kayfabe.
Don't you think Vince?
It's the lure of
had the final.
Yeah, I think that's the lure of Andre. It's like, how can you make Andre look and respect? We love Andre, right? The myth of Andre, whatever. But I think that's that's to help keep his myth up. Like, no, dude, you don't just lose to Andre. You don't just slam Andre. Andre, which I think that's true. I don't think if Andre didn't want you to slam him, you weren't going to slam him, And if Andre wanted to kick out, he'd kick out. I mean, we hear the stories. I mean, he beat the hell out of Macho Man. He hated Macho Man, hated Big John Studd, Jake the Snake, hate those guys, and he beat the hell out of them. But no, I don't. I think that's kayfabe. I think that's to make Andre look strong. I don't think Andre would do that to Vince, or they knew the role. Hogan was going to win. No baby oil. Yes, I know. I love that thing. Yeah, that was Macho Man. Yo, brother. What are we going to do in the ring? No baby oil, get out. That's what Andre told Macho. Of course, Hogan told that story. So it was like, take it with a since we have a Bret Hart in the comments there. Next one is Bret Hart. And I never knew this. Tall tale. But what's Bret Hart's most famous line?
Like his catchphrase, or
yeah, what's it supposed to be like? When you hear that,
you think there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
The best there is, the best, the best there is, the best there. Do you know, based from Hogan, Bret Hart took that from Hogan? Hogan claims that he created the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be while he was recording an interview. And Bret and Owen Hart were sitting outside the interview booth, and Bret heard that, took it, and ran with it, and obviously made it his own and killed it. Do you think there's any truth to that reality? You're looking it up?
I'm typing that into ChatGPT just to let everyone know I've been doing that every single time. And it's just funny to see what comes out. And all right, here it is. So Hulk Hogan did say this on the Bubba the Love Sponge show in 2009.
I'm not kayfabing.
Yeah, I was sitting in the hot box doing interviews, and Bret Hart and Owen Hart used to sit there and watch me. One time I said, "I'm the greatest there was. You never will be, brother." Bret picked it up and ran with it. Listen, do I believe that Hogan said that? Sure. Do I believe that Bret overheard him and maybe got an idea? Possibly. Listen, Chris Jericho said I was the best in the world for so long. He left WWE. CM Punk started him calling himself the best in the world. Literally the same catchphrase. Literally. Let's not pretend that saying I'm the greatest there is. It's not some non-common phrase. Everyone says that. I think every wrestler in the world has said that in a promo. So it's not. I think Hogan thinks that it was stolen, possibly, but it's not a very like unique catchphrase. Honestly, it's really common. It's kind of mid. So yeah, of course he could have stole it, brother. What do you think?
Well, Bret Hart says this is where it actually came from. And I think you're right. I think Hogan may have said something in those lines, which who wouldn't, right? Hogan's, I'm the greatest there is, I'm sure he believes that. There's a lot of people that think Hogan's the greatest of all time. Ric Flair's brought it up and everything else, but he actually got it from the movie The Natural. The quote actually came from a Robert Redford film where he says, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. So, and Bret Hart said that's where he got it from. So, Bret, I'm sure Bret, I know, obviously before they hated each other, Bret hated Hogan or whatever, they hung around each other. I'm sure Bret was outside a booth and Hogan's like, oh, he must have heard me say, well, the greatest of all time, the best there is, the best there ever will be, different things. But anyway, I don't know what the reason of that is, but it is what it is. So maybe in Hogan's mind, maybe Hogan's mind, that's a reality. A very old movie, Robert Redford movie. Obviously, Robert Redford would be an old movie, but. And thank you, Cap. I appreciate that, brother. I try my best. Oh man. Next one, straight up kayfabe, obviously. But still, that he claims that he broke his ribs versus The Rock at WrestleMania 18. And I always saw that when he held his ribs and everything. And I was like, when he's really selling this beatdown, he just hulked up. And I found out, oh no, he broke his ribs. Reality is he actually broke his ribs against Rikishi in a house show before WrestleMania. That's right. Hogan wrestled a house show and Rikishi broke his ribs. And all I could think of when I kept reading this was Rikishi going, I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. So yeah, this was a funny one. I don't know why I kept thinking of that, but to me, that's just kayfabe. It's to make the Rock match look more bigger. And I don't think there was any harm with that.
Thanks, Cap. I try my best at my wrestling abilities, but Bobby just makes fun of me.
No. Josh knows his stuff, dude. What are you talking about? Yes, you do. We have fun with that, man. That's what's cool about it. He challenges me a lot. It's like I have to go back and look what I'm like. I know this is real, Bobby, bro. And I gotta look it up. Like, oh, damn, yeah. But anyway, here's one that I knew. I think we both know Hogan is a talented guitarist. That's well known. He loves playing music. He thought he was gonna be a musician. What I did not know until I was researching is that he said he was offered a spot in Metallica early on as a bassist, and gave this whole story that he was asked to join. It just didn't work out, and this was in the 70s and the 80s. Well, is that the right one? Is it? Yeah, he was lead drummer Lars Ulrich said that never happened, and Hogan has changed his story and said that he tried to join, but it just did not work out. So
yes. So in 2009, in a Chicago Tribune column, when Metallica was looking for a bass player, I called. Never heard a word back from them. I would have quit wrestling in a heartbeat to be a bass player or bass, whatever you want to call it, for Metallica. So yeah, he did bring it back and say, I offered, never heard anything back.
That's right. And so let me throw this back here because I saw a spot in here and I want to get this back, and we'll go back because we have some more stuff. Because yes, there is more. It's not just that. But Maria brings up a good one. And, Undertaker, I always got the vibe Undertaker was one of the guys that never liked Hogan. When Undertaker, he would say he respected him as Hulk Hogan, being Hogan, but there was always a vibe before I knew why that was like, man, I don't think Taker, Mark Calloway likes Hulk Hogan. And well, that was another one was, and I didn't look this up, and maybe you could pull this up in ChatGPT before I say this other story. Hogan says one of Hogan's claims was that he discovered The Undertaker. The Undertaker was in his movie, and he's the one that brought him to Vince, and then he became The Undertaker. You know, get that story up. But the one I'm saying was, I always wondered why that vibe, because if Hogan was the one who identified him and brought him in, why would he not like Hogan? Well, there was the world title match where Undertaker beat Hogan for the title. Undertaker tombstone Hogan. If you go back and watch, I believe, I don't think it was In Your House. Maybe it was SummerSlam. I could be wrong, but he tombstones Hogan on the chair. Flair puts the chair in. He tombstone Hogan. Hogan is doing his little, seizure attack. 1, 2, 3. Undertaker's the world champion. He leaves. I never knew the backstory to that until I heard from Undertaker in Undertaker's interview. And he says that when he tombstone Hogan, Hogan goes, "Oh, you got me, brother." And Undertaker went, "Oh my God, I heard the biggest guy in wrestling." They went in the back. Hogan was in the chair and laying down. The people were checking on him. So for a couple of years, Undertaker believed that he injured Hulk Hogan. And then Undertaker watched the match. And if you go back and look, Hogan's head never came close to that ring. So my thing is this: I can understand. Let's play advocate here. Overselling and saying, "Oh man, I'm really hurt," But once you get in the back, that's done. And especially after a couple of years, you're like, "No, dude, no, it was just selling. I was selling." Okay, but Hogan kept that on enough for the Undertaker to believe it, and then Undertaker a couple of years later goes, "What?" So after that time, Undertaker was done, and Undertaker said, "I still worked with him when he came back. We worked together. It's business." We know Undertaker's one of the classiest guys, one of the most respected dudes out there. But then I was like, okay, that all makes sense. But yeah, there's another one. There's another tall tale of Hogan that he did in the ring on Undertaker. But yeah, do you got that story up on
April 2024 in a video posted on his official website? Hogan describes the moment while promoting some reflective content. Quote, "It's kind of funny how The Undertaker came about. I was doing a movie called Suburban Commando. I remembered Mean Mark Calloway. We brought him to Hollywood. I said, man, you should come to New York. So I brought Mark Calloway to meet Vince. And I said, I'm going to call you The Undertaker." End quote. So not only did he bring him to Vince, he called him The Undertaker. It's his creation.
There you go.
And this is 2024 in April. If Hogan said this, posted a video. Maybe
so yeah, Survivor Series. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys coming in clutch. I was close. SummerSlam, the SS, but yeah, Survivor Series. Thank you. But yeah, see, so oh my goodness, and there's a lot. There's more, I'm sure. And please, if you guys could think of anything we're not bringing up, but there's some more, and I'll let Josh take that one. Go ahead, Josh.
Oh, I can't read that, Bobby. My screen's too small.
So
I'm working double duties here, brother. I ain't got 3 screens like my pal Justin Barley over on Fantasy Now Plus. He's got 5 screens. I'm working on one small laptop here.
I'm gonna lose the comments, but I could do it. So first one, but wait, there's more. All-star pitcher was scouted by the Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds. This was you. This was your ones there. So talk to me about this. He did play baseball in high school, didn't he?
Yes. So all-state pitcher, and he was supposed to play for the Cincinnati Reds or who was it? The other team?
Yankees.
The Yankees. That never happened. I believe they debunked that. Oh man, I don't have these notes in front of me right now because I exit out. But hold on.
You're good. You can tell this is so forgive the misspelling on that part, guys. I put Yankees on
Yankees?
there. Yankees and not Yankees, but my bad. That's on me. I probably misspelled more, but the Booty Man's legit. That was straight up. I just put what Josh told me at that point.
Well, that is the booty.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So in 2016, interview with Mercury News, he said, I was a fat kid growing up, but I hit more home runs than anyone in West Tampa in Little League. I was playing third base. As I threw underhanded to the first base, I broke my arm. He further claimed scouts for both the Yankees and Reds were interested in him before he broke his arm. The injury derailed the opportunity. So yeah, if he didn't break his arm in Little League, he probably was going to be a New York Yankee or Cincinnati Red. Now, a lot of people are saying that he didn't like Macho Man. Macho Man was an actual minor league player at some point. So this was him just trying to get back a one-up of Randy Macho Man Savage. I'm better than him, and here's a reason why. So I thought that was an interesting fact. Or his little tidbit. 2016. It's not like he's saying this stuff in 1982 or whatever, like 1992, 1995. Why is he saying all this stuff when he's past his prime to stay relevant?
Or that he's old. Maybe he's senile. Maybe he just doesn't know. You know, he's an old guy. You got to give him like, hey, man, it's okay. You're old, dude. It's, you know, no, not really. Rewrote Mr. Nanny, but credit was stolen from him.
Yes, and not only Mr. Nanny, but every movie that he was in that time. And he said that he rewrote it, and the Writers Guild petitioned against him and took his writing credits. I brought this up on Real Talk Wrestling, and Clutch made a good point. He has creative control in WCW. He wants control. It's always about what he wants in the end. He could have rewrote some lines in his mind. That's rewriting the script. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Actors do it all the time.
And no, they do. Well, you know, you were saying creative control. Again, there's a lot of guys in wrestling with creative control. You know who does that ever since he did Rocky was Sylvester Stallone. Every movie that I was reading, there's a Sylvester Stallone documentary on Netflix, and he says that a lot of the movies he was in, I don't want to say all the movies because I don't know if that's true or not, but I know the majority of the movies he was in after, he would write the script or rewrite it into what fit his character and fit him. He did that with Rambo. He did it, you know, obviously later on in other films. So I believe, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe Hogan in his head, you know, said, oh, I'm going to do some of this. I feel comfortable saying this. Okay, well, I rewrote it. Why didn't I get a credit for that? I added that in, you know? So yeah. And there's a, you know, what's an uncredited role, uncredited writer happens all the time. It's not just Hogan. Hogan tore 18 muscles in his back after slamming Andre. We know that's kayfabe, and we kind of talked about that a little bit already. There's different stories to this, but one that you had sent me that I've heard before too was that Hogan did not get the George Foreman Grill. It was offered to him because he was taking his kids to school and he missed the phone call. The one I heard, and maybe you can clear that up since you have it in front of you, but the one I heard was that he was offered it but declined it because he didn't believe in the girl or something. He had something else that he was endorsing or putting his name on, and that did not work. I don't remember the particular thing, but I know there's something else.
Michael Bohm, the inventor, family's inventor, confirmed they only approached George Foreman, not Hogan. Henry Holmes, the lawyer who represents both Hogan and Foreman, stated that he has no recollection ever of Hogan being offered the grill, noting other celebrities were considered before Foreman, but not Hogan. And Hogan has said on 2008 Late Night and Conan O'Brien that this happened. He missed a call from his agent offering him deals, and he didn't answer, so went to George Foreman because that's how it works. You don't miss the call. If you miss the call, Bobby, that's it. You're done. He also said it in 2005, 2007. Hogan knows best. He did say it on that show as well. He said it multiple times. So he still thinks he should have got that grill.
This one, I've heard this one before. Wrestled 400 times a year between USA and Japan. Of course, that's impossible, or because there's
this is a Scott Steiner math, brother. Like I don't, I'm not.
Talk to me about this one, brother.
No, there's nothing to say about this one. There's nothing to say except for he wants it to seem like he worked all the time in the time zones, flying to Japan, back to America, where he was losing days, gaining days. I don't know if that's how calendars or math or anything works.
Was it 400 days a year? Is that what he was saying, or 400 times a year?
400 days.
400, because in the Steiner math you're talking about, shout out to Scott Steiner, is that he said, oh, because he wrestled in this time zone and this time zone, and he went back and forth and that added the days up, which I don't know how that works, but kayfabe, brother. That one was hard to look. Go ahead.
It was hard to look up anything, right, about where to find that one. Every time you search it up on ChatGPT, it doesn't really give you anything great. But here's this quote in 2009. If I say I wrestled 400 days in a year, it's no exaggeration. My years were actually longer than 365. There were times I'd fly back and forth to Japan twice a week to wrestle, so I could wrestle in Japan today and then fly back across the international date line and landed in another town yesterday. So he's traveling in the future.
Okay, so what he's saying is like, okay, so it's, it's sunny right now, but if he goes to Japan, it's the next day, comes back, it's the 21st. So he goes to Japan tomorrow, the 22nd, comes back, it's the 22nd, the day after that. For I don't know what he's okay. All right, brother.
And he's saying, and there's also no record of Hogan wrestling in New York City and Tokyo on the same day. He claims that happened as well.
Kayfabe, brother. The now this one I never heard before. I've never heard this, that the NWO was his idea. And I believe that he believes that, because it sounds like a Hogan thing. Hogan was very good to his friend. If Hogan was good with you and you're his friend, he'd take care of you. And so I believe, maybe, the only time I could believe that it was that when he started testing the waters about being a heel in WCW. I don't know if you've ever seen that, where he wore the black mask and he wore like this thing, and he was kind of testing Hollywood Hogan. Before Hollywood Hogan, he was wrestling the Legion of Doom, right? Legion of Doom. That's I think that's Kevin Sullivan's team. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. Maybe it's a tag team. But anyway, he's like, I gotta go to the darkness, brother. And he was doing this whole stitch. And maybe that's where he started going, oh, what if I was if I became a bad guy and my group was the Nasty Boys and the Booty Man, which of course is oh my goodness, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. That was one of his names in WCW. So I believe Hogan had an idea of, oh, maybe if I had this group and these were my guys. I don't think he thought, oh, this is New World Order. These are just my group of bad guys and I could be a lead back. And they were like, no, it's not going to work. I believe that, but I don't think it was his idea. We know whose idea it was. Come on, Hogan.
I think this one is a debunked, and I think this, because I got this one from the internet, because I searched this one up, and these are one of the ones that I wanted to look into.
Oh,
I couldn't find any. I saw it on some Reddit post.
I've never heard of that before. That's why I started going, why would he say that? And I
saw it on a Reddit post. I looked into it, and I have it right in front of me. There's no evidence this has ever happened. Maria already said it. Eric Bischoff stole the idea from Japan, and that's what Hogan says. I remember Eric Bischoff talking about the idea. Yeah. I don't know if he came up with the idea or if it was from Japan, but he was the one who approached me with it. So this was not true. That'd be asinine.
That would be way too obvious. That's why when I was like, I guess I could see it with those, because those are his guys, but I never heard that story before, that Hogan ever said anything like that. So very interesting. Hogan asked to join UFC before it was big. What's this about?
I believe this, by the way, because it's the UFC. It was the Wild Wild West back then. Did you watch it back then? Kimbo Slice, Chuck Liddell, these guys were maniacs. But honestly, I couldn't find anything on this. I looked it up everywhere. I couldn't find it. Did you ever look into this at all? Because I see no evidence of this ever happening.
So the one I saw was not that he wanted to join UFC, like he was going to be a fighter, was that he says that he and McMahon were approached to buy UFC. I knew that Vince McMahon was approached. It's Shane McMahon. I knew the story that Shane approached Vince to say, hey, UFC's for sale, let's buy it. And McMahon said no. Hogan's story, or the story that I found, was that Hogan said no, that he and McMahon were offered the UFC, and they both declined. And then it is what I never heard that Hogan asked to join the UFC. Maybe Hogan was asked to buy UFC, but I never heard that he was going to join it. And I don't think that would have worked out. That would have been
so UFC co-founder responded to this. Campbell McLaren, a key figure behind the original UFC, took to Twitter, now X, saying, I call bullshit on Hulk Hogan. I never wanted him in original UFC. No one asked him. So there is levity to this story that Hogan thinks that he was asked.
Okay. Vince gave a legit offer to UFC, but they turned it down. The Gracies, Ken Shamrock. Yeah, Ken Shamrock, I knew this. But yeah, Shane was behind it. That's what I remember that story. I never knew the story about UFC, and then when I was doing research, I found it, and I'm like, oh wait, I have no clue why Facebook did that.
So I'm gonna ask everybody this, because I know we're about to wrap it up and everything. If you're watching this later on, if you're one of these people that watch a stream afterwards, or if you're here now, put in the comments, who do you think? 'Cause I have an idea. who could be on par with Hogan's stories in the future, like a wrestler now that's losing his marbles, that claims he knows everything and created everything. I have someone on the tip of my tongue, and I'm ready. Chris Jericho. I can't wait to hear the Chris Jericho stories and lies because he thinks he is the god of wrestling. I'm a big Jericho mark. I'm my number one guy.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
know.
afraid this is going to happen to me. He's going to turn into Hogan on me. He's already doing it. Ever since he came out with a podcast, I freaking hated this guy because the way he talks about his stories and I created the Money in the Bank. I did this. This was my idea. Everything's his idea. And I think he's going to be the next Hogan, brother. And I'm not looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. And again, well, there's just guys, girls, and it doesn't matter, but guys, especially in the wrestling business that I've seen and I've listened to, that seem a little high on themselves. They want to make themselves look more important, or they may have got like an inkling, Money in the Bank, whatever, Hogan, whatever, but you're talking about Jericho, but like, oh man, that would be a cool concept. And maybe they pay, and all of a sudden they see that, oh, I came up with that idea. Did you? There's a few tall tales, and there's a few guys in wrestling. I like when I listen to like Scott Hall's one of those guys that I could listen to a Scott Hall story, and I know I'm going to get the same story. I don't see like Scott Hall's one of those guys I could enjoy, and I think I know he's because there's times where he put over Jericho, he put over X-Pac 6 back then, and he's like, well, it's just better if they would win. I mean, we get those are guys, but there are some guys that they come you listen to them and you're kind of like. So Jericho's a good answer. I don't know if there's anybody else that put anything in the comments. I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's another guy that
Steve Nash.
Oh, basketball.
Kevin Nash. Maybe he meant Kevin Nash. Maybe it's Steve Nash. CM Punk. Maria says CM Punk. Ric Flair, yeah.
Ric Flair is
no. Ric Flair has no shame, bro. Like I think he just. JR's on his deathbed or getting cancer removed.
Oh, dude.
Ric Flair.
It's like, what are we doing, Rick? Stop, dude. Like
Vince Russo, yeah.
The guy has cancer. Yeah. And he goes like, he's trying. Russo. Yeah, Russo's one.
I think the Young Bucks.
Okay.
And they're not as big as those guys, obviously, but
no, but I get what you're saying. Kevin Nash.
Dude, the way he cockily said in that documentary we watched a while ago about who killed WCW, where he's like, "What did the fans pop, brother? It's a terrible, terrible match, terrible ending." Like he just thinks he's so right. The Thunder, like everything that he did is so right.
But that's a different thing from fabricating a story, right? I mean, that's
I know.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I get that. Like I don't. That's my thing with Kevin Nash. I've never got a thing where I never had it in my head where he's like, oh, he knows he's straight up BSing. To my thing, he what he's saying is whether it's true or not, that he believes it's true. A lot of times, it's more like he doesn't get, like you said, did the fans pop? Yeah, the fans pop because it was like, whoa, Kevin Nash eating.
I don't even know what that means, brother, but it's awesome.
Ricky Steamboat, really?
I don't know. I haven't heard any. You know what, Dwayne.
That's a good one. The Rock, but I don't know if he'll do enough to. Steve Austin's not one. Steve Austin is one of those guys because he'll straight up say, "Oh, that was crap." He did an interview eating ravioli. Funny, yeah. I really enjoyed listening to, not lately, but like back in the day, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Those guys were guys that I love listening to their stories back in the day. I don't know about the Nasty Boys. You see here, it's tough for me to listen to Jericho.
He's so hard to listen to.
Flair, it's hard now. I can't listen to Flair anymore. Shawn Michaels, I only remember doing one sit-down shoot interview, and that was when he lost his smile the first time, or that time he lost his smile, and he sat down and he talked about he was in a hotel, and he, to me, and he wasn't BSing. It was a very good shoot interview. I like listening. Eddie did the same one.
Maria said CM Punk. Here's where you're wrong on this one, Maria, and I love you. He was on Ariel Helwani's show breaking down the Jack Perry fight before the video was released, and he went blow by blow, moment by moment. And when they played the video, it literally lined up with everything he said. So that's the way I judge it. If you tell a story and either we have video of it and it happens literally how the video happens, or other people repeat the same stories. I believe.
Well, my thing with that is, and you know, like with Hogan, there's obvious like either kayfabe or straight up trying to twist the truth, and you know, you're like, oh, dude, come on. Where CM Punk, again, someone like that, like he believes what he's saying, and there might be some like when that's a lot of his things is perception, but they're like you said, there's a lot of truth to it. Like again, it might be the wrong perception. He, you know, like those stories that he says in those interviews with his old best friend, we talk about, you know, when you're like, oh, you know, I want a main event at WrestleMania. Well, you wrestled Triple H, and you know, and he's saying
Taker.
what, or Undertaker. I'm sorry, the Undertaker or whatever, but I believe those are real conversation. I don't think he's twisting or turning. He's saying something that people don't, that obviously McMahon doesn't want you to hear, but there might be things where it's like, oh, he perceived the wrong thing. Doesn't mean he's lying or he's trying to lie. Cause I think he's someone who doesn't give a crap. He doesn't care if you believe him or not, you know. Goldberg, you know, I don't know about Goldberg. You know, I just watched
It's just interesting, man.
Like, it's a great question.
Watching,
but
we're
it's
watching
hard
guys
too.
now. Yeah, because we don't know where they're gonna be. We don't know how. I'm just trying to think. Randy Orton's gonna be 30 years from now, right? We just don't know. What if he's we just don't know.
But Hogan,
who thought Kev was gonna be a freaking self-absorbed mega maniac talking about how everything he did was awesome and cutting down the new. That's what I hate about the old breed. They come out with their podcast and all they do is talk about the new breed. They don't bring these guys up. None of them do. Now Stevie Richards and some other guys do. They call it down the line. But really, these guys are also bitter and just so. Like I was listening to Carlito on Busted Open with Bully Ray and LaGreca. And LaGreca was asking insightful questions. Bully was like, so tell me about why Triple H fucking sucks, bro. But didn't say it that way. Just giving him answers, giving him questions so we can talk bad about Triple H and management back there. Like, bro, you're just Bully, bro. You're just tearing the company down, the one that built you up. And it's like, that's a problem. I think Disco, these guys, they just jump on these guys. They don't build anybody up. There's no positivity in the IWC or in the podcast state when it comes to pro wrestling in the podcasters. Jim Cornette's the biggest offender of this. They all do. Like, there's no positivity. That's all I'm saying. So
I will say, I get what you're saying, and it's true. You know, I mean, but they're asked these questions. I mean, they're Kevin Nash is one of those guys. Like I don't know what's the name of that guy that interviews him or is on a show with him. But they ask him those questions. However, I will say I never heard Hogan kind of crap on the current group of guys. I've never heard that. I've heard Hogan talks high. Like he said, oh, I saw Kevin Owens and I was like, dude, this dude's gonna be legit. You know, he said a lot of, even obviously wrestlers that hate him, he talks high on Seth Rollins, on CM Punk and whatever, but I've never heard him shit on any of the younger guys, which kudos, right? But I was gonna say with Hogan though, he is famous as he is for being Hulk Hogan, right? You know, one of the guys, like, you know, you talk about McMahon. Hogan is the reason why wrestling is where it is. I mean, he brought it to this front, and other guys ran with it. Whatever, we know that. But Hogan is famous for that. He's as famous for that as he is for his tall tales. Because there's many years of people as in creative control, right? When you think creative control, you think of Hogan. When you think of wrestling tall tales, you think of Hogan. When you think of goats, you think Hogan is in that conversation. So there's not a lot of guys like that. So it's hard to say who could be. I think Jericho's a great answer. I think that's true. But it's hard to try to pinpoint. But I will, like what you were saying, there are some older guys that it's hard to listen to because they're always crapping on the younger product. But that's the thing though. It's different now. It's not the same. Yeah. I mean, I know Carnett would want it a certain way. Nash probably would prefer it a certain way, whatever. But you know, it's what it is.
Who is CM Punk's Mount Rushmore?
Okay, so without, I think I've heard it before, but think about it. Okay, so Bret Hart, and I'm with it. Bret Hart, Terry Funk, Harley Race. I'm guessing here, but because I'm just thinking, and oh my gosh, the fourth one. Bret, Harley Race, Terry Funk. Who would be the other one?
According to Chat GPT, it's not Which I'm surprised that this can't be true because he's a big Brett mark. But Brett's not on there. He has, according to this, he has Micharusha Misawa, Japanese Legend King. I have no idea who that is. Randy Macho Man Savage, Stone Cold, and Harley Race.
Okay, let me see. CM Punk.
He tweeted this on November 29, 2019. And widely reported, yeah. So apparently that was his list he tweeted out. And this is an official list that he updated. 2024 on ESPN First Take, he said Eddie Guerrero, Terry Funk, Roddy Piper, Stone Cold.
Okay. All right. But
as much as he loves Brett, I'm surprised Brett's not on all these lists.
Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, for him.
Oh, for his list. Yeah.
Because he's not on my list, Brett. Sorry, Brett, you're not on my list.
but to me, Harley Race, like, see, that's classic. That's like when people say, "Oh, my Mount Rushmore is," you think of the, John Cena,
the four best,
like, Roman Reigns. This is like, okay, but when you think of like real
Funk, Race, Hart.
Oh, okay, there you go. Oh,
yeah, what he said on Raw, yes.
But to me, if you are like a wrestling historian, like a true, like those names make a lot of sense. You go, well, who, Harley Race, dude, go back and watch. Harley Race was like Terry Funk. One of my favorite matches to watch.
Awesome.
Terry Funk versus Ric Flair. I Quit. Oh,
Maria, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. I had to stop. We just had to stop the thing.
On fire, listen, Maria.
He said he'd never go back to WWE. He's back. He said he'd never go wrestle in Saudi. He is. Like, he's the biggest hypocrite in wrestling. But you know what? He's also the best worker in wrestling right now. There's no one more captivating right now.
Listen,
in pro wrestling.
CM Punk, I think, is having his second time in WWE is way better than the first time in WWE. He's having a killer run. And let me tell you something. He's bringing out wrestling's full of hypocrites. Let's be real. Okay. Let's see how long John Cena could stay out of wrestling after he leaves. I believe him. I believe he's done because he seems that guy. He sticks to his thing. But wrestling's full of hypocrites like, oh, I'm done, dude. And then come back. It just happens. So I'll give CM Punk that. But I will say CM Punk is bringing the best out of John Cena right now. Bringing that promo last night. If you guys didn't watch it yet, go back and do it. It was really good. I don't know if it's the greatest. I've seen people say it's I don't know about that. But that's the John Cena I think everybody was waiting to see as a heel, because we know how great John Cena is on the mic. He's killed anybody when he goes one-on-one, whether it's The Rock, who's the best one on the mic, Roman Reigns, Austin, whatever. You go throughout the whole list, John Cena has but as a heel, we haven't gotten that yet. We got the shouting, I have cancel wrestling, whatever. Now, I mean, what he did yesterday, I think, Josh, once you watch that, it's only 6 minutes, so it's not like you're to be tired watching it. You got, I know old man got to go to sleep, but take 6 minutes of your life before bed and watch it. And I think you're going to
like son of a bitch. Can I tell you something where I'm going to be doing after this show, by the way? I'm not going to bed. My wife has me being scheduled to go watch the Kids' Choice Awards on Nickelodeon. It starts at 8 o'clock. So I'll be watching the Kids' Choice Awards with my son because he's super stoked about it. So that's what I'll be doing tonight. But before that, I'll be watching the promo.
Minecraft is on HBO, for those who don't know. It just came out on HBO Max. And my son he's been wanting us to rent it. I'm like, I'm not paying $10 to rent the damn thing. He gave us all this grief. And now I saw it last night. He's like, can we watch it? I was like, dude, it's midnight. You need to go to bed. He's like, please. He's like trying to fight me on it. So I'm going to watch that. Enjoy the Bellas.
Hey, the Bellas can win anything they want. All right, Nikki still got it. She can still get it. No, my wife's not.
Yeah, if Nikki Bella wanted a title match, I'm all for it. And Becky Lynch is killing it. And Bayley and Becky Lynch is gonna be fun. The women's division is on fire. That's all I gotta say. Lava chicken, bro. Yeah,
listen, we saw it in the theaters. My son, he didn't ask. My son bought Minecraft on our cable box, so that was $20. And I know it's on Max because I was watching the AEW a couple days ago and I saw Minecraft. I've seen Minecraft about, I'm not going to lie, 22 times. I have this thing where I can get movies for free when it comes on video on demand. My brother just logged me into some little sketchy site. Don't get me FBI. Sorry. Just kidding. None of this is real. But I've been able to watch it. I've been able to watch it for like the past month. It's my son's favorite movie of all time. So
did
you like it?
I love it. Minecraft. It was before I wanted to go see something else with my. I was going to watch something else with my daughter, but my wife's like, "Oh, my dad doesn't want to go by himself," and I was like, "All right," because he doesn't speak good English, or you don't want to, he was in case somebody asked him or anything, so I was like, "Okay, I'll go," and I watched it with him, and I was kind of like, oh, "Dude, it looks silly as hell." It was a great movie. I really enjoyed it, and I like playing Minecraft a little bit. I like building and doing stuff on my own when I'm bored. So it was a good movie. I haven't seen 28 Years Later. Heard it's good. I know it's not a family film. Live is out for 6 months. That sucks. Yeah.
That sucks. It sucks.
It does suck. And I'll tell you what, I think you might be proud. I actually watched a full AEW match the other day. I watched the whole match. Mariah May versus Tony Storm. I watched that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that. The last one, I think, was a trilogy. The third match in the trilogy. I did because I was telling them about Mariah May in NXT, and I was like, dude, she's legit. And so we put that on. Of course, it was a good match. Is it the best video game movie?
No.
Minecraft? No. Best video game movie.
That's tough because there's so many of them. That is a tough
question.
Super Mario Bros was better. I enjoyed.
I enjoyed Super Mario Brothers better. I think that was more of a tribute to the video game than Minecraft was. Minecraft was it was still good. I
prefer all the Sonics over Minecraft.
My son loves the Sonic movies.
Yeah, we love the Sonics in our household.
So far, they're going to keep the women tag titles on Liv and Raquel. I think it doesn't matter though, Kat. Doesn't matter what they do with those titles right now at that point. I don't think so.
Yeah, I didn't even know she was. I didn't even know she was a tag team champion. Although in her promo on Raw, she said she was. So, sure, I guess. Who cares? Just throw them in the trash like that one chick did on WCW.
Medusa.
Yeah, Medusa. But yeah. So let me go. We'll watch that John Cena promo. Then I'm going to watch the Kids' Choice Awards. I don't know who's nominated. I hope my kid's favorite wins. This is going to be. It's going to be hell, Bobby. First off, because I have to stay up late. Second off, because I have to watch Kids' Choice Awards. Yeah. I have no interest in Kids'
I didn't even know they were going on. I didn't even know that still existed, the Kids' Choice Awards. So, Tron. Yeah. There's some good video game movies, but Roxanne and Raquel tag champs. Maybe Maria. There you go. That might be a good sell point. But again, they have to do something with those belts. But anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it. But this was a fun show. I really enjoyed it. But Josh, any final thoughts on the Hogan Files before we wrap this up?
We give Hogan a bunch of crap. Even during this preparation, a story came out where he was on his deathbed, and maybe we thought we were going to have to change the show. That became another tall tale. Maybe he wasn't on his deathbed at all. So you can never tell what's going to happen with Hulk Hogan, brother. But guess what? It's always going to be interesting for the better or for the worse. Hulk Hogan for president, 2020. Was it 2028?
Maybe
2028.
Oh man, but no, yeah, I'm with you. He just needed Botox, brother. Come on. But yeah, no, it was a fun show, and yeah, you're right. Like I said, this was all we're all just having fun. When somebody told me, "Hey, dude, somebody put in the comments before the show, you wanted to rethink this," and I was like, "What is he talking about?" And I looked it up, and they were like, "Oh, Hogan on his deathbed." I'm like, "Oh crap," because we obviously would have had to change the show because then it would have been about Hogan and his impact. And yeah, Hogan is famous as for his wrestling as he is or his tall tales as he is for wrestling. I mean, there's a lot of times where you go, oh man, what about that when Hogan slammed the Giant? Hogan tore 18 muscles. That's BS. Oh crap, really? There's a lot of those stories. It's just what it is. But no one could deny the impact of Hogan on professional wrestling. So I think he had surgery on his neck and his back. So just, hopefully gets better soon. Whether you love him or hate him, you wish, just good health. But I was a Hulkamaniac growing up. When it comes to the character, Hulkamania running around. He's not racist. There's a few. But anyway, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you all so much. We'll be back next Saturday with another episode of No Holds Barred Wrestling. Hopefully we'll figure out. Well, no, next weekend. Yeah, we will be back, but it will be Saudi.
We talked about this next weekend.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my bad.
I'm not going to be here live. Is next week Saudi?
I think it is.
You might have to find a co-host, and you might have to find a replacement and just do a pre-show without me. Then
we'll figure it out.
Or when is Saudi? When is Saudi? What time is Saudi?
I don't know. in the morning, right?
We could do a Friday. We could do a Friday night show.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Maybe we could do a Friday show. You're traveling on the weekend, right?
Sure.
Okay. I don't know.
It's
We'll figure it.
Pokemon Go Fest next weekend. And
Oh,
I'm
that's
gonna be playing
right. I thought you
gonna be
won. Didn't you
on
win?
what?
Didn't you win?
Yeah, I'm level 50 now. I'm the highest rank you could be, but it's Pokemon Go Fest. That's
awesome.
where I'm gonna be.
All
That's
right,
where
bro.
I'm gonna be from 9 a.m. to like 9 p.m. probably 6 p.m. So I mean, I'll be home around 7.
What are you gonna be doing? Hunting the Pokemon, like you're walking around the park and trying to catch them?
Yeah, and there's new raid bosses that are out that are just releasing the crown form of Zacian and Zamazenta. So you got to go raid for them. We don't have those yet. They're just brand new to the game.
I will say, I'm not making jokes because I tried Pokemon Go once, which wasn't for me. You know, I tried. I remember my friend made me drive him around Melbourne, and because there was a certain, I forgot what it was, and we had to do it. But you know what I got in that I'm into, and I'm still into it, is the card one on the phone.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's fun. That's a lot of fun for me. I get so pissed off because now you fit the backup card does damage to you. I'm like, that's so stupid. That pisses me off.
When Grey Ninja uses the splash on you. Yeah.
I hate that, dude. It's like you're sitting on the bench. What are you doing? But it's all fun. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. We'll figure out what's happening. Maybe a Friday night show or a recording. We don't know, but tune in, like and subscribe. And good night, everyone. Appreciate you. Good luck to Josh on Pokemon Go.